Welcome back, everybody. We are here continuing our work at the Rock Box to support one hell of a killer show. And tonight we got to check out the brutality of Canada's Striker, yes, making their debut here on Rob's MetalWorks. Though they are veterans to the San Antonio metal scene, I have with me the man, Mr. Tim Brown, guitarist of the band. Tim, how you doing? Great to see you.
Thanks, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. You look in good spirits. I like to see people smiling, you know, even after a long tour that you've been on.
Yeah, it's been one hell of a tour. It's, I think it was 33 days with 32 shows, so one day off that was scheduled. Yeah, so.
Yeah, we heard. You know, Tim, there's a lot of people out there tonight for the first time who will be hearing about Striker. So for those people who are new to the band, share a little bit about the history of Striker and a little bit about the origins of Striker.
Yeah, you bet. We've been around for close to 10 years now, I guess. We released our first album in, I think it was 2009 was our first like demo EP. And since then, this is our fifth album that came out most recently, our self-titled album that came out in February of this year. And we a few years ago we started our own label, our own independent label, and we've been releasing music under that, and it's been working out really well for us, and we're super happy to be here.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit I was telling you off camera that, you know, I thought that what the band is delivering musically is really a unique thing. You know, I hear a lot of thrash in it, but and then I hear a lot of melody and kind of, for lack of a better term, because some power metal in there, kind of underneath. Share a little bit about what would you say if people said, Tim, what are you delivering musically?
I like to think that Striker is a mix of Toto and Slayer. So it's kind of a mix of, you know, two opposite sides of the rock genre. You get the super heavy stuff because we like to listen to all kinds of music. You know, we really like modern, like metalcore or hardcore kind of music, all the way to like old school AOR stuff. I mean, we listen to everything. So from both ends, you know, we listen to all of it. And the city that we grew up in had a really big like death metal and like black metal scene. So I mean, that's what we grew up with. And so we've listened to all kinds of stuff. I mean, and then some of our favorite bands are, you know, the old traditional heavy metal bands from the 80s, you know, like Dio, Priest, Maiden, stuff like that. So we just kind of mash it all together, and that's
which was very melodic, some of that old stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the interesting thing is, I mean, like Dio, for example, he started singing in the 60s, and he was in like church groups or something. I mean, a lot of those guys started out with music that had nothing to do with metal. I mean, metal wasn't even a thing when they first started music, right? So, or even Ozzy, he always cites like the Beatles as big influences, right? So, I mean, a lot of the influences that come to metal, at least back in the day, used to be very, you know, melodic, very poppy, for lack of a better word.
There was a couple of things that I found intriguing about your latest release. First of all, you guys self-titled it. Why did you self-title it at a fifth release?
Well, Metallica did it, so we did it too.
Was there anything new or kind of a reason behind that, or you just kind of just said, hey, we're breaking ground in the U.S., kind of reaching new people, so let's just let them know who we are?
Yeah. When we were writing the music for it, we felt that the music was almost like a summary of what we've done throughout our career. So we felt that if someone was looking through our discography and they had never heard of us before, we thought, you know, this is the best album to start at if they want to understand what Striker is. So let's call it Striker because it is Striker, you know, for lack of a better word. At least at this point, you know, maybe
a seasoned Striker.
Yeah. So I mean, we've been working on our sound for a number of years now, so it's we're getting pretty well developed, I guess, when it comes to writing our own style of metal.
Sure.
So yeah, I
think that's very important. And like I mentioned earlier, you guys definitely have your own sound, and something that I had not really heard before. I want to give a big shout out to John Freeman, kind of for turning me on, your publicist, for turning me on to your music. You know, I don't hear a lot of metal coming out of Canada, maybe not as much as I should. But one thing that was intriguing was, you know, a lot of the bands that I hear about or that I work with, you know, are on, you know, some of these major indie labels in the U.S. You guys have decided to do your own label. How did that happen, and what are some of the benefits that you've kind of been reaping from that?
Yeah, we used to be on Napalm Records, which is a pretty huge label these days. And you know, like signing with them was good for us at the time, but you know, as the modern age of music, especially in metal, which is a niche genre, you really have to weigh the benefits of signing to a label, because I mean, in the end, ultimately what a label does for you is they're a bank account and they have connections. So I mean, if you can do things like pay for your own promo or go to the bank and get a loan, which is something that we did, you know, you can take out that middleman. And so it's very important. I mean, the heavy metal music now, especially with the way the music industry is. I mean, there's, you know, streaming and stuff like that, downloading music. It's totally different than it used to be. So the way that the music business has been run for a long time, which worked when people would buy CDs and buy vinyl and whatever, doesn't really work the same anymore. So I mean, the heavy metal pie has shrunk down so much, and I think you can really see it in other genres, like in pop music. I mean, everything sounds the same because they're not willing to take a risk on anything, and they're like, oh, this sounds just like something else that was successful, let's just double down on it. Let's not you know, rock the boat, let's not do anything risky. So going independent, you know, we were lucky in that we've had a few years to, you know, go around the block and learn a few things. So
and network a little bit.
Yeah. So we met a lot of people that, you know, like us enough to help us out, and like Freeman, for example. And so yeah, that's been really good for us. I mean, if you have a vision and you want to work for it, the big thing is that no one's going to work harder for you than you will. So that's kind of our mantra.
Thank you for breaking it down, because I don't think like a lot of the average music fan out there understands that the band has to stay feasible. So you guys have been on the road with Dark Tranquillity and Warbringer since the beginning of September. Pretty long stretch now. We're going to be like, you know, the 6th week. How's this run been for Stryker?
This has been a great run. Everybody on the tour is really awesome. Warbringer's great dudes. So is Dark Tranquillity. It's really great because it's a diverse package, so there's a lot of new faces that I haven't seen Stryker before. A lot of people haven't even heard of Stryker because, you know, they're coming from a totally different background, and then we show up and like, oh wow, I really enjoyed that. I never heard of you guys. So it's been really great for us in that regard, and it's been awesome for us. I mean, this is our 4th tour of the U.S. Since like I think 3 years ago is when we first started hitting up the U.S. It's kind of a pain in the ass to deal with all the border issues and the visas. So, I mean, we've been touring in Europe for a long time, but
So it's just as bad coming into the U.S. than it is for U.S. bands getting into Canada.
It's terrible. Well, I mean, when you go to Europe, you just fly over and you just show up. You don't need anything. And it's like, they're like, oh, hey, thanks for coming over. And then you try to get in the U.S. and it's like border agent breathing down your neck. What's in the van? Let's get the hell out of here.
Isn't it so ironic because our countries are so, I mean, we border each other.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. There's so much, you know, cooperation. They're two very friendly nations, and then it's, man, I don't get why they're so hard on musicians, especially, you know. It's weird because it seems to me as they think that, you know, we're coming down here to steal American jobs or something, but it's like, I know most Canadian musicians that I know that tour the U.S., they're like super happy if they can break even. So, I mean, cool. We come down here and we give all our money to hotels and gas stations.
What's the, you guys obviously are about to end this run. What do you want to do for the rest of 2017 with the band?
Well, we're as soon as we get home, we're hitting up the studio. We're going to have a new album coming out sometime in 2018. Not sure when yet, but we got studio time booked. That'll be really exciting. We're hoping to really put some kick-ass tunes out.
Have all these some of these songs already kind of done in pre-production, or you guys do work in the studio?
Yeah, we do a lot of pre-production. Our last 2 albums we recorded entirely at home, so we have the ability to record whatever the hell we want, and it usually sounds really good, which is nice. Our albums, we record them and we do that stuff at home, but then we send them out to. We have our guy in Studio Fredman in Sweden, Fredrik Nordstrom. We've worked with a lot, and his crew, and
great producer.
Yeah. So we've worked with him a lot, but it's really nice that we have that experience to record ourselves, and we all the bonus tracks, for example, that we put out on our recent albums, we just recorded them at home and throw them on the album. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Tim, for giving us your time tonight. And I have to ask you before I end out, believe it or not, I've interviewed another renowned Canadian musician this past year. I interviewed Rick Emmett. Please tell me you're a Rick Emmett fan.
Yes, I am a fan of Triumph.
Yeah!
Triumph is awesome, man. Rick
Emmett should be like your god.
Yeah, you can't be Canadian without hearing like nonstop Triumph all the time.
Yeah, we interviewed Rick Emmett at 63 years old. He is a big name in San Antonio, and has always been really. So when I think of Canadian metal and rock, I always think of Rick Emmett first. So it's great to have you guys on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any last words, Tim? Anything I missed? Anything you want to share with the people around the world who will see this interview?
Check out Striker. Woo!
Go to the social media. Go Facebook, Twitter, everything, right?
Everything. You name it, we're on it.
And where can fans get the independent self-titled Striker release?
You can get it anywhere good music is sold. We're on iTunes, Spotify, you name it, we're on it.
Cool. Thank you so much, Tim.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, we had to work hard to make this happen tonight, but I'm glad we did, man. You're a really cool dude.
Thank you very
good vibes. I love good vibes from good musicians. Remember, everyone out there, the band is called Striker out of Edmonton, Canada. Be sure to look for their music. The self-titled came out this year. It's on all music downloadable sites. You saw Tim Brown of the band only right here on Rob's MetalWorks.